Hello, friends, and welcome to Pod Return to the Waking Sands. We are a Final Fantasy XIV companion podcast where we explore the lore and story of Rhitahtyn and beyond. My name is Jen, and I am joined by my co-host and researcher.
I'm Levi.
Hi, Levi.
How's it going, Jen?
It's good. How are you?
I'm fine here. I'm looking forward to talking about this upcoming stretch of Redone 2.0 finale.
Right. And
everything up here is brand new compared to when we last played through this segment.
Is it?
Yeah.
All of it?
Yes. Every
you're
piece
right.
of content is refreshed.
That's right. Wow. Okay. Also, this is the day after closing ceremonies of FanFest 2023, and that was very exciting. I know a lot of you were watching the live stream. I was on Saturday. I couldn't yesterday, unfortunately. I really wanted to watch the live letter, like live, because I've never done that. But super cool shit. This isn't the podcast that talks about, patch notes and stuff, but I encourage you, if you can find recordings of like the dev panels. Ishikawa goes into the story of Endwalker 6.0, which is amazing. And then the cosplay was like, some of these people are just so talented. And unfortunately, they don't live stream the concerts, which, so sad. I'm so devastated that we couldn't get tickets. But next time, hopefully.
Well, this will be like a month after FanFest by the time it airs, but still,
yeah,
that content is good no matter how recent or not recent it is.
Content is good.
Anyway, to today's episode, we are playing Up to the Quest, A Hero in Need. Your favorite question, what happened last time, Jen?
We rescued everybody. Like everybody. We got into Castrum Sentry to get our friends back. And our friends were Eorzean, Minfilia, Papalymo, Tataru. So we take Biggs and Wedge, who we rescued the previous episode, do some stuff. We steal a Reaver, we infiltrate, we get our way to get our dudes out. Y'shtola and Ida are complete badasses. Cid whisks us away in the nick of time on the Enterprise. We find out that Thancred has been possessed by an Eorzean. So now we have to all get together and deal with the Ultima weapon. And so that's what this episode is about.
Yes. So we have just escaped from Castrum Sentry and have taken flight on the Enterprise. Meanwhile, we see in Uldan meeting room and the leaders of Eorzea.
This is the Fragrant Chamber. Yeah, and it was featured in the keynote from Saturday, where they were showing the graphical update. So they used the Fragrant Chamber specifically to show like before and after, and it is incredible. Anyway, continue.
So the Fragrant Chamber is a great sandstone hall. Interestingly, there are a lot of empty seats at this table compared to the leaders who are here, who are Rauban, Nanamo, Kanisena, and Merylvib. They're the only ones in attendance at this meeting.
Yeah, they haven't invited the monitorists. Hooray.
Thank goodness. They are discussing the Garlean threat and an ultimatum that was just delivered by Gaius von Balzar. So he's got his Ultima weapon now ready to go. And he says pretty much, we got this weapon of mass destruction. We took out all 3 known primals with this thing, no problem. So you've got an option. Either you bow down, Eorzea, and you surrender to the Empire, or we turn this weapon on you. So all the leaders are ready to do battle, but there has been no word from Ishgard, of course. So, as always, the Ishgardians say, fuck you all. You solve our problems for us while we deal with our internal shit. You know the Empire is going to be knocking on their door after they're done with the rest of Eorzea.
Yeah, and then they've put themselves in a really difficult position because not only do they have to anyway, no, it's a complete hypothetical, but anyway.
Oh, sorry. Nanamo is not in the room at the start, but she enters after the other members, the other leaders, do the first round of, well, this sucks. And then she comes in, stating that they all must agree on a response together. No one can stand alone against the Empire, so either they unite and defend, or they surrender collectively.
Yeah.
As this is happening, we make our landing at the Uldan airship dock. We gather on the dock with all the rescuers and rescuees outside the Enterprise. You can talk to all the Scions here and the other members. If you talk to Wedge, he's wondering if she was impressed by the rescue. Do you think she might, be impressed by me?
So cute. We all are, buddy.
Yeah, but he wants that Tataru.
Oh, I get it. Like, she is on top of her shit. She's an impressive woman.
But if you talk to Tataru, she's just singing a song to herself to calm her nerves. She is oblivious whatsoever to Wedge's interest.
Self-care is important.
Of course. And Minfilia, of course, is worried about Thancred, but she needs to focus on the immediate threat. So good for her. Focus on the problems that she can solve, which is the Ultima weapon. We have to hustle and tell Eorzea's leaders that the Scions are still intact. And so we run over to the Chamber of Rule. So
continuing inside the Fragrant Chamber, the Alliance leaders they're deep into it, but they haven't yet agreed on anything. Like, this is beyond a heavy decision. This is an impossible decision, especially considering that as the Scions, we haven't yet arrived to give them, our feedback. Kane Senna is a little disturbed that they have yet to agree on a way forward. And what is really heavily coloring the discussion at this point is how soon after the calamity this all is. It's only been 5 years. It's not been enough time for people to, we're still rebuilding lives, infrastructure, careers, anything that could be in the process of rebuilding, it is. She feels like this isn't something they can ask the people to, okay, suit up for war again. I realize we're all just trying to survive here, but, so that doesn't seem like something she can ask people. And especially this Ultima weapon, so effortlessly destroyed 3 primals, just like that. What could their weakened forces possibly offer by way of an opposition? And Merlveb essentially mirrors Kane Senna's attitude. We're constantly suffering under this cycle of primal conquest and rebirth, and she's sick of it. But, she's not suggesting that they replace one form of tyranny with another.
Yes and no. She says, we don't want to bow down. She says something like, surrender does not need...
Oh, no, I got some words for this. So she loathes the idea of trading one form of tyranny for another. Correct. But what she says... after this, I'm very disappointed in you, girlfriend. And I quote, conciliation need not mean oppression. I'm sorry. Have you met Garlemald? What did you just say? This is very disappointing. Not cool, not cute. And Roban mirrors my sentiments in this case. He's like, y'all, okay, none of you guys said the word surrender, but that is essentially what you're advocating for right now. And that's gross.
But then he goes on to say, well, I got nothing too.
No, he says, I can't disagree with all of your reasons why capitulation is kind of on the table right now. I get it. And then he recalls his fiery speech at the Remembrance when he made all of these promises, and he hasn't been able to fulfill a single one. So everybody at the table is feeling a little sorry for themselves at this moment, a little hopeless. It's not a good place. We're not in a good place. So now Nanamo enters the chat. She tells Raban, you cannot feel shame about what you said. Everybody in this room has been in that position. You are telling the people what they needed to hear in that moment. Since everybody is so just, living life on the bleeding edge, and hope is, moments of hope and levity or whatever, optimism, are few and far between. That's what you needed to say. Don't beat yourself up over it. Yes, thank you, Nanamo. You're Sultana for a reason. Well, it's more like birthright, but she's doing it. She's walking the talk. Everything that Nanamo says right now is really, really helpful to the discussion. I think it does a lot to kind of lift just the air of just pessimism, I guess. So what she says is that, Gaius, he's consistently blaming us for not having the people's best interests at heart. And this is regarding the uncontrolled tribe and primal threats specifically. But straight up, that is fallacious and inflammatory. Despite our flaws, Nanamo says, we have always operated such that our people's well-being is the highest priority. That is true forever. So how can we let him say that to us with a straight face? Also, Hypocrisy at its finest, because that is something Garlemald cannot say about themselves. Well-being, peace, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, their only stock in trade is war. Suffering, war, conquest, expansion. Gross. Back to Merlveb, and she kind of brings it down again, where she's, we enlisted outside forces to help us with this. The Scions of the Seventh Dawn. They're gone, and the Black Wolf is at our door.
Aye, the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Alas, they are gone, and the Black Wolf is at our door.
Admiral! I fear you are mistaken.
Alfinord, Minfilia, and seven hells, Master Garland?
And that's when we hear the door open, the Alphino. Admiral! I fear you are mistaken. Oh, and this scene always gives me goosebumps.
Always. How many times have you seen it?
The second time. For the second time, it gave me goosebumps. So this is when the Alliance leadership, for the first time, see that the Scions and Master Garland are alive. And in the room, we have, it's Alphino, it's Minfilia, it's us, and who else? Sid, duh.
And it's such a bummer because they have not yet given us our title. So they're like, Sid, Alphino, Minfilia.
Our friend.
Yeah.
Right, well, yeah, it's coming, but
we are like 5 minutes away from getting the Warrior of Light title officially. Right. I mean, just, that's such a fucking soft fart the end.
We're still very new. We're like, the Icon Slayer is our title at this point, really.
To the Imperials, because that's an Imperial term.
Right.
But the Alliance has no term in voiced scenes by which to refer to us. So, it sucks to hear this, really emphatic, oh my god, you're back. Mm-hmm. And my friend, also. That guy. Anyway, it's fine. It's just I'm exciting too.
Well, yeah.
It's a weird departure from the...
And it's hard when they can't...
The energy is different
say your
too,
name.
is a problem. Oh, and my friend.
Which is fair, because they have known Minfilia and not Alphino, but Minfilia and Sid for a long time.
Fair, I guess.
They were instrumental in the Battle of Cartano and all of the drama leading up to that. So that is a relation. Those are relationships that are very deep.
That's fair. We're the fourth wheel right now.
Kind of, yes, but still very important, and obviously we had no trouble getting in here.
Now Minfilia and Alphino start to tag team this impassioned speech, calling the Eorzeans to action. If they accept the terms of surrender, they will only intensify the strife that we are currently facing. Desperation will not cause the primal threat to go away, it will actually intensify it, because these groups who are put into a corner will use anything they can to find a way out, which means the primals. And not only will the tribes be doing their thing, but now you've got the people everywhere in Eorzea desperate. And that's, Minfilia is just straight up like, why didn't you guys think of this? Hello, fast forward the tape. And I'm also, I'm a little proud of Alphino in this moment. I think he's very good at public speaking. Yes. He's still very young and idealistic, but in this scenario right here, he and Minfilia are a very convincing pair. No, this plays right to his strengths. Yes. He gets to be arrogant and proud right now, and that is the correct message. It's the call to arms. Yep. Remember, just 5 years ago, the reason y'all were willing to die for this realm, because, so tap into those ideals, tap into that feeling, because we're there again. Yeah. And the Scions also remind the leaders here that Garlean rule is not peace, but oppression. Exactly. It's not going to be a good time. Merlveb. God damn. And also, I just want to say this to you, Levi, specifically, because you have opinions on this, but for the record, Gridania was the first to stand up and be like, Gridania will go to war.
Gridania will go to war. We will fight the Empire for the sake of the realm and all who abide here.
For Connie Senna, this is a very violent reaction. Yes. This is shouting and frothing at the mouth from her on her scale. Yeah, just the boom with the staff on the floor. I'm like, ooh, woof. So, Gridania was first. Finally.
With this reality check, the rulers renew their resolve and commit to standing against the Empire. The Eorzean alliance will go to war. And each leader burns their copy of Gaius's demands, and then they begin to strategize.
Yep.
Nanamo says, hey, you go back to the Waking Sands, and we'll call you once we're done with our...
They have to form the strategy.
Yeah.
They have to put together all of the details of the battle, which will be multi-pronged.
So we pray return to the Waking Sands and arrive back at the interior, which is a bit of a step up from the last time we were here.
Yes. And it is great, but it is still it's bittersweet. The lights are back on. It's relatively cleaned up in the main halls. We have people, they're hanging out in the space again. So I took a little detour into the break room. That's what I'm calling that room. Break room, storeroom, library, whatever.
I call it the common room.
There you go. That's a better name. And I just say hello to the people that are there. Again, it's like 5-6 people.
There are 4 people there that you can talk to, and then there are a few uninteractable NPCs who are doing their business as well.
Arenvald is there.
Yes.
Spoke to him. He is fired up. I'm glad to see him. But it is Eorzean is hanging out there, of course. But we have another Scion. She's just kind of picking through the rubble. And another one who is still just completely devastated. She's just on the floor with her head hanging. It probably feels just really awful to be back in that space, but we persist.
Yeah. After that detour, we head into the Solar and find all the big name ranking Scions and affiliates inside. You can talk to all of them again. Wedge is still anxious about Tataru's affections, and she is all business.
Well, she has no fucking idea. Or she might. I don't know. I love it. She's just like, got stuff to do. Yeah, amazing.
But we're not going to sit around here and wait for the Alliance to call us. We're going to make our own plans. With Thancred on her mind, Minfilia gives us an Ascian lore dump. She tells us, or reminds us, as the case may be, that Ascians are immortal, incorporeal creatures. Since time immemorial, they have fanned the flames of chaos from the shadows. And they can possess mortals through the use of artifacts known as crystals of darkness. And this is also the key to saving Thancred. So she whips out this dark purple crystal, which looks just like the kind of cut cylindrical gemstones that we've been collecting, the elemental crystals. This is a replica, though, from the students of Baldessian. An artifact like this should be somewhere on Thancred's person, allowing him to be possessed by La Habrea. So if we can find this and destroy it, then we can free Thancred.
We'll get our Thancred back. So obviously that's not the priority right now, but having an idea of like what is going on and a potential solution, huge. Good. Cool. Keep that in the back of your minds.
The Scions also remark about how Thancred had been working so hard to fill the void left by Louisoix.
Ugh.
And so he was doing everything he could, working long hours.
Like Ida said, working himself to the point where he was just dizzy, could barely stand. This is a huge element of Thancred's character. He is deeply insecure. He feels like he is constantly on the road to redemption. Like he'll never get there. He can't possibly do enough. And that's like really sad, but that is exactly what got him to be in such a vulnerable position. And
also it's mentioned that his exhaustion may have weakened his will and made him more susceptible to possession.
Again, self-care. Get plenty of sleep. Work-life balance.
And now...
therapy.
Here's when we are called the Warrior of Light. Minfilia talks to us, recalling how the past warriors saved the realm 5 years ago. And there's been talk now about us in the same fashion. And she does indeed believe that we are such, guided here by the crystal's light. We could have told her that 40 levels ago, that we got the big crystal energy.
You know why I'm here? Fucking Hydaelyn sent me.
Yep.
So I'm just going to go ahead and adopt the title Warrior of Light. Because it's going to happen. Yeah. And, she's looking at us and like, remember the Warriors of Light? When I look at you, you remind me of them. So, ta-da. I mean, that's huge.
Yes.
Because also she is a possessor of the Echo. So, not that hearing this from somebody else without the Echo would not be as significant, but I don't know. It just has a different weight to it. Knowing that she has the ability to know things other people can't know.
We take a little break. And then Alphino comes in with word that Eorzea has made its plans. They have laid out this whole operation. And he whips out a map, and we get a cutscene showing us all of the planned maneuvers.
Love it. I love this. Because also, at this point, just kind of the general layout of where everything is in relation to everything else, I don't know. Like, I honestly, seeing this map and seeing like how where Lanosia is, where Ul'dah is, where Gridania is, I'm like, oh, okay. They're very far apart. We can just zip around. It seems like they're literally next door. I mean, honestly, like we can literally walk from one place to the other. But whatever. I loved the way they visualized this because it's like we're standing at one of these giant war tactic tables that you see all over this game, and in housing items.
So we get a view of the entire map of Western Eorzea, and then every castrum is marked on the map. The plan is to attack every single castrum at the same time in an overwhelming counteroffensive.
Yes.
So
there are 4 phases.
First off, the castrums. This, I think, is the first time we actually get a list of all of them.
Totally.
We can see them in the wild, but these are now named to us.
And there are a couple that we really didn't have any idea existed. And it all comes to bear in this operation, and it all comes to bear in just how easily the Empire could. I mean, they're everywhere.
Yes.
They're in it.
So the list is Castrum Occidens in eastern Lanosia, Castrum Marinum, which is in the sea between Vilbrand and Ul'dah, or Thanalan.
Strategically, a huge boon for the Empire.
Then there is Castrum Meridianum in northern Thanalan, Cape Westwind in western Thanalan, which is connected to Marinum by a Magitech transporter. Castrum Oriens at the far east end of the Twelves Wood. This one we can't access directly.
But we can see. We can line up right against that wall.
Yep. And finally, there is Castrum Sentry in Mordona, which we just escaped from.
We're very familiar with this.
The objective of this operation is to destroy the Ultima weapon, which is housed in an interior fortress inside Castrum Meridianum.
And it's called the Praetorium.
Yes. These preceding operations against the other castrums will allow us to create an opening to attack the weapon directly.
Yes.
So there are 4 phases to the operation.
Phase 1. We are isolating Castrum Meridianum from the rest of the network. And this is especially important because this is Gaius' seat of rule and the home of the Ultima weapon. In this endeavor, we are going to take out one of his most trusted lieutenants and a brilliant tactician, and that is the Praefectus Rhitahtyn Sas Arvina. We are going to intercept him at Cape Westwind. He's normally stationed at Castrum Occidens, and this is where he develops all of their battle tactics and strategies and things. But he's going to Cape Westwind for an inspection, and this is where we're going to grab him. And
so what's interesting here, Jen, is that it says in the cutscene that we're going to lead an elite adventurer unit, but actually that doesn't happen, period, in the actual event.
It's right, because that's an echo of the previous version.
Right. I'm assuming it might have been a miss or something that they didn't change the text.
I think it's okay. So it's not quote unquote like an adventurer group.
It's the Allied forces, which are definitely not an adventurer group.
Yeah. So I'm just guessing, like, we can just kind of hand wave it that other adventurers are involved in the diversionary tactics, which is also a critical part of this operation.
Yes. It's fine. It's just a nitpick.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm still okay with it. Phase 2. And then again, we're still looking at the map and all like the little logos, like the Maelstrom logo and the Garlean Empire logos are just kind of moving around the map. It's so cute. And also it's for visual people like me, amazing. So phase 2.
And every time there's a battle, you get sounds of like shing, shing, shing.
It's so cute. So we've got like, Allied forces meeting up at one of the castrums, and then it's like sword sounds and anyway, okay. Phase 2.
Phase 2.
So when Rhitahtyn is spotted at Cape Westwind, the Maelstrom will descend upon Castrum Occidens in his absence. Merlveb will then lead an armada to Castrum Marinum, and the Order of the Twin Adder will surround Castrum Oriens with the help of the Sylphs. So the moment that we spy Rhitahtyn at Cape Westwinds, these 3 things will deploy simultaneously. This is critical.
And this is following up on the Sylph's promise to help us as vengeance for Neuraxia.
Yes, and Ida says during the discussion that Frixio has just been itching for some vengeance. Phase 3 will be the infiltration of Castrum Meridianum. Now that they've been kind of cut off from everything, the Immortal Flames will march against the stronghold, and then an elite unit, us, will infiltrate. We need to disable the magic field generator that protects the Praetorium, and then the Twin Adder will blockade the railway between Sentry and Meridianum, and that will prevent reinforcements from Mordona, which could be intense because, legend has it, that train is huge. And Estrella is like, thank God they didn't give it wings, right? Nobody tell them. And then phase 4, with Meridianum thoroughly compromised, we will enter the Praetorium and destroy the Ultima weapon.
Easy.
Easy peasy. So, like, there are steps within steps within steps. Every single one of these needs to succeed.
This does a good job of making you feel like everyone's involved.
Everyone's involved. This is do or die. It makes you feel like really invested in everything that's going on. Like, yeah, no, I felt it. Unlike anything that's happened previously, the fact that, you know, I mean, you're here, you're looking at literally all of these things that need to go off without a hitch for this to work.
Right.
Like this is it. We're on the precipice. A lot of pressure.
Alpha No tells us that the other Eorzean power players will be backing up this venture. Limsa's privateers, the monitorists. In all, there will be 12 major factions in this operation.
Huge.
An auspicious number.
Mm-hmm.
And Alpha No makes this point too, saying that legend has it that there were 12 Archons, and so this has been dubbed Operation Archon.
Nice.
The Archons being referenced here are not the title in Garlean. This is actually a band of 12 saviors that helped warn people of the impending floods during the 6th calamity. And this is also the place that the Garleans, the Circle of Knowing, with Louis Sois, got their Archon title from. So they're both drawing from this same event in the 6th Umbral Age.
God, everything is just dripping with significance.
Yes. So the Scions are dispatched to their respective territories to help coordinate. Even Tataru is involved in the mission, joining Urian J in keeping the Ul'dah monitorists in line. No profiteering from this operation. Y'all.
Please, and thank you.
I could not find an official list of all 12 participants, the actual 12 major factions, but this is what I can surmise.
Okay.
So we have the Twin Adders, the Immortal Flames, the Maelstrom, Scions of the Seventh Dawn, the Monitorists, Limsa's Pirates, the Sylphs, and the Adventurers Guild in Mordona backing us up. That's 8. Those are very straightforward. The remaining 4 are difficult to discern because it really depends on how you break up the other participants. For instance, Limsa has several major privateer crews that you could call their own factions, like the Bloody Executioners, but also it's...
I feel like that's probably one of them, honestly.
Well, maybe, because there's also the standing forces of every city-state that are likely tapped as well.
Right, the God's Quiver.
Yeah, Gardenia's God's Quiver and Wood Whalers. Limsa has the Yellow Jackets. Ul'dah has the Brass Blades and Stone Torches.
Oh, and we're past 12. So...
Also the Sultan Sworn, which maybe they're not involved, but they're a major player. So
yeah.
And also there's the Ironworks too, which is not a major faction. At least...
I think we can lump them under Scions because they're unaffiliated with a nationality, you know?
They're not... They help us out, but they're their own corporation too. So pretty much it's hard to say where the 12 major factions break down given all the moving parts.
Yeah.
And maybe some Eorzean Alliance marketing person just said it's 12. So we could call it Operation Archon.
It's like, it's the Acatl 20-something.
Yeah.
We're just going to call them Acatl 9 because
exactly.
That's cool.
It is very snappy, but there's a lot of people involved.
I kind of hope the Acatl 9 are involved in some way too. That would be amazing. Probably not.
Probably not.
No, we could use their ship. I mean, come on. It's okay, fine. We're working on it.
The problem being, though, like all side quests, is that it cannot be canon for the main quest because it's optional.
Right, yeah. The timing of things is very... Yep. You can't control that shit, yeah.
Which is why sometimes the devs make you do side content before main content. This is now canon, guys. Do the shit.
Right.
So you can proceed.
Yeah. It is upsetting that the binding... Totally optional. You don't have to do that shit. It should be mandatory. Like 100% should be mandatory.
They would have to refresh it first. And they talked actually
they did.
more FanFest talk.
They did. They did. Because Ishikawa was like, please go do this series of quests because it is so informative. And she draws comparisons from scenes in that whole raid it's a raid series?
Yes.
Yeah. So she pulled direct comparisons to scenes that we see in Endwalker.
We will be doing that as soon as we can, as soon as that unlocks. There's some other steps to do
it's
after.
It's going to be so fun.
If we can get enough people interested, it would be great to also do it synced as well.
Oh, totally.
To see the mechanics.
Absolutely.
But the main focus, though, is getting those cutscenes.
It's
exactly.
the story. It's so informative. There's so much context. You will cry. It's like, it is huge that they don't make you do this.
Anyway, back to Operation Archon.
Okay.
We head out on our first personal assignment of the operation, heading up the coast of Thanalan to Cape Westwind.
So just north of Vesper Bay, we are meeting with the Allied Communications Officer. He's the one who's going to be giving us our missions officially. But before I walk out of the Waking Sands, I touch base with Tataru because she's back in her little seat. I just want to see what she has to say after all of this. And in pure like admin fashion, she's bemoaning the Scion's roles and how like people are just signing up left and right. She can hardly enter them into the system fast enough. But don't worry about it. She put a little flower next to our name for easy reference. I'm like, oh, thanks, girl. Okay. Anyway, so off to
Cape Westwind.
Well, it's not Cape. Well, we're on the way. So I'm hitting up the dude. We get the mission. We are just outside Cape Westwind, where we meet up with Lieutenant Adalbert. This is a very striking Highlander man with a cool like tribal cutout in his buzz cut. And so what they're going to do is they're in charge of the diversions. So they're going to pull as many Imperial soldiers away from the entrance of Cape Westwind as they can so we can sneak in. And we do. We have to sneak past... Okay. And if you've done the Amalja tribe quests, this will feel very similar. The sneaking around, trying to gauge fields of vision, waiting till somebody turns around, like, because otherwise you will fight 20 dudes before you get to the gate.
What I did is I chocoboed up and I just ran through it, screw all this aggro, and then at the final point, I stopped to fight everyone who was still on my tail after I got to the actual duty entry point.
That is one way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, legit, that's a way to do it. I did not. I was sneaking around, and if there's a guy standing in front of a gate, I'll just pull him, fight him, and then walk in like I own the place, rinse and repeat.
Cape Westwind is among the most slapshod of the Imperial outposts.
Yeah, it is.
The castrums that we visit have just transformed the land. They have rolled out their modular gates and floor plates and walls and so on, and transformed the landscape into this dark metal squat, fuck you or the Empire.
It's like a factory floor.
Yep. But Cape Westwind, though, this is actually kind of integrated into the
Landscape.
Sand and stone of Thanalan itself. So they have these little modular gates that they've put up at every kind of natural choke point where the surrounding boulders kind of make a funnel to the further points of the cape.
Yeah.
And then they have these tank trap-esque things as well, storage containers and so on, although on the dusty ground. It's like they kind of plop them down on the actual landscape. But everything here, there's like 4 successive gates leading up to the Magitech transporter. And you can see it on the very tip of the cape. It's a big metal ring that has a cord running out to a rocky spire in the sea, and built around this spire is the actual Castrum Marinum.
Right, this is Stargate.
So they actually need power, it seems like, coming from the Castrum to power the transporter because they have that power cord.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it is.
Because they cannot manipulate ether. So yeah, that's it. You've got power and data cable running along the seafloor, much like real life. And
I'm not sure if you looked at the Castrum.
Westwind?
No, the Castrum.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, there are lots of like random buildings way out to sea that you will never get to visit.
There is this big rocky pinnacle that comes straight out of the ocean, and they have just clamped on all these metal attachments to it to build the castrum up.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
So we either sneak or brute force our way up to the inner checkpoint of Cape Westwind, and we come face to face with Rhitahtyn in his Magitech armor, Minotaur-esque helm, and dual gun shields, named Tartarus. He immediately recognizes us as the Icon Slayer.
Oh yeah, bitch. Here we are. You knew this day would come. To his credit, the man is clearly a brilliant tactician because he sees exactly what's going on here. I'm like, oh, so the diversionary tactics, that's all so that you get in here. And that means you're trying to destroy me so that you can weaken Castrum Oxidans. And he tells the Centurions flanking him, make sure you warn them that the Luminsons are coming.
This really annoyed me because these two Centurions, they run right past our character.
I know! I feel like we gaze after them like,
maybe
did you really
stop
just...
the messengers, don't let them pass.
Yeah, I could have just whipped out a couple of daggers and then slit their Achilles tendons and then oh, you're not warning anybody.
This will have a cost in lives if Castrum Oxidans is warned and you're just standing there, warrior of light, and letting these guys walk past you.
We're so tunnel vision, our mission is to destroy Rhitahtyn. Whatever. It's okay. But it did feel weird that they did slowly jogged within 5 feet of us, and we literally watched them go.
Change the scene's blocking so they don't have to go past us to get out.
That's the part. Yeah. If they ran back into the castrum, that would make sense.
Yep.
Because then they probably have some communications tools in there. I don't know where the fuck they're going running out. I don't, whatever.
So after his soldiers retreat past us, Rhitahtyn keeps talking to us, and he gives off that he is another true believer in the Imperial propaganda.
Oh, he is swimming in the flavor aid.
Yep. Gaius has been working for 15 years to deliver you Eorzeans from your suffering. Each land that the Empire conquers is freed from strife and poverty, much like Rhitahtyn's was.
I disagree, but
I went looking again. I tried last time we met him. I tried again to find out where he is from. I cannot find confirmation. I don't think it exists.
At least not in, so many of these lands that the races we've come to know are from are unnamed. It's like a general, nebulous, from the faraway mountains of blah, blah, blah. So it's not like Alamigo we know, but we know Rhitahtyn is not originally from Alamigo.
Right. So here's what I got. He's a Rogadan.
Yes.
So he could be from a Rogadan region, but also people mix it up too, so no guarantees there.
Well, he's definitely of sea wolf origin because of his name. His name is his name. What he acquired as the honorific in Garlean military terminology, I guess, is the Sas Arvinus.
Yeah. And we also know that it was consumed by infighting before the Empire conquered it. But that could also be Imperial propaganda saying, hey, 100%. Kids, your home sucked until we came along, so you're welcome.
Well,
so no guarantees about its history, just its reported history.
And it reminded me, listening to him talk, he's just repeating all of the speaking points that Gaius just repeats over and over again. And it made me very keenly aware of political situations where we live.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that. So he was ripe for plucking by the Garleans.
More though about his deal. As mentioned, his weapons are called Tartarus, and almost every damn move he uses in the upcoming fight is called Tartarus something or Tartarian something.
Yeah.
Tartarus is part of the Greek underworld, and during his fight, one of his lines is something like, here's a technique I learned from my homeland.
Yeah.
And then he does a Tartarus move.
Yeah.
So it's not a guarantee because maybe his weapons were named that before he got them, but he is steeped in this one word of Greek mythology.
Right.
At least.
Something very significant, which is interesting.
But we don't have a Greece analog as a homeland, except the most recent expansion has a lot of Greek shit in it, but that is not compatible with
not at all
Rhitahtyn.
Yeah.
I can't think of a place that would be highly Grecian in origins.
Oh, not even Grecian, but they've just, for whatever reason, that chunk of the mythology was significant to his homeland.
I'm just grasping at straws because it's all we have available to us right now.
So definitely he's a sea wolf, and he did not agree with the way his homeland was being run, to the point that he was championing the Empire and completely subjugating his people. Like, it's just, yeah, the man is touched.
Yeah. If any listeners have more clues, please do weigh in.
Totes.
Anyway, though, he promises us a peaceful and icon-free utopia.
No.
If we just stop fighting our saviors, guys.
Nope.
Knock it off. It'll all be good.
I don't believe you. Because we've watched you do this to other people, and, like, they're not happy about it at all. Like, that's nightmare shit that you're doing.
He touts Gaius as evidence that the Empire's rule is just. And we well know that Gaius is also way up in the propaganda. He is Empire-pilled to shit and back.
Oh, for sure. You know, he's got this like savior complex going on.
If Gaius were the Empire, maybe we could trust his words, because Gaius lives his words. He walks the walk.
He does, yes.
However, we know, though, that Gaius, though a true believer and very honorable in his own way, he's got his own hypocrisies, which we'll get to soonish.
Correct. He's so, like, I was thinking about this. I'm like, I actually kind of appreciate the letter by which he lives, but the spirit is fucked up.
Yeah.
So he's like obviously, you know, an icon-free existence, everybody can get on board with that, but not the way he's going to go about it.
No.
So that's a tremendous blind spot that he has. He cannot see it, and he's just so up in his own shit that he can't see what he's doing.
Sure. And I do think that Gaius gives him a skewed view of the Empire, because we know from other experiences that Gaius is also kind of an exception as well, in a sense.
Yeah.
Things are a bit more, I guess, I think that the vision departs from reality in places that are not on the forefront of the 14th Crusades. We got recent evidence of that, of Alamigo, which Gaius helped to conquer. Right. But now we have fucked up shit going there, as evidenced by, what's his name from the escape from Castrum Century? The Alamigan that helped us. That guy.
So this was the guy that was like, all right, you're going to need some uniforms.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't remember his name.
Anyway, like, Alamigo is a fresh conquest, and things are fucked there already.
Yeah, just war crimes upon war crimes.
Yep. So this promise is heavily false, though I think Rhitahtyn has his own little tunnel vision.
100%.
You know, here's our just fight that he is acting under, and he is fully on board with this. He is kind of like a weird epitome of like a perfect commander in a way. Like, he cares about his own soldiers. He cares about the mission. And he sends them away. He'd rather spare them a death at our hands versus have them even do their duty.
I mean, this man, Gaius chose wisely in Rhitahtyn.
Yep.
For real. He is, like you said, a true believer, but he is also a man of honor. So delusions aside, this man does everything, you know, he acts in accordance of someone who lives by like a high, like, moral code. Like, he holds himself to a very high standard. And I love that. And I think the rework of this battle shows so much more respect to who he is. Yeah, he's on like the wrong side, quote unquote. He deserved better. The initial battle was an embarrassment, and it embarrassed him and his legacy, and I don't think that was fair, and they fixed it.
Indeed, as Gaius has given Rhitahtyn a noble cause and noble adversaries, us. He is not wont to bear his steel needlessly, but if we are deaf to reason... This is a 3-phase fight against him, a solo battle.
It's very cool.
Us and Rhitahtyn.
Yeah, it's great.
So phase 1, the fight. Rhitahtyn is just winding up here. And overall, this fight is a huge mechanical step up, because when they remade the fight, they brought in modern 14 mechanics into A Realm Reborn. And I feel like this would be a huge kind of like, what the fuck? For new players going through this. Oh, dude.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't do this multiple times over, I mean, you're some kind of savant. Like, that's crazy.
So already he drops some basic AoEs in this fight, like always, but these ones are huge. You have to hustle to get out of them, because they will fuck you up if you don't start moving ASAP.
And what an amazing learning tool this is. Incredible. All of these lessons and mechanics you will carry forward for the rest of your in-game experience.
Yep.
Just straight up.
Another new trick, though, that he shows first-time players is the Tartarian 4, which is his directional shield.
Oh, that's a cool one.
Yep, so you'll put up a big barrier in front of him, and if you attack him from the front, you're going to get your attack reflected back to you and get fucked up.
Yep, great.
Tartarian 2, he will smash the arena, causing energy cracks to form underneath him and ripple out from his point of impact. And when these reach the arena's edge, they will explode. This is, I'm not going to call it the first time, it might have been elsewhere, but this is a trick used a lot in later encounters where a move will be telegraphed not by a big danger circle, but by a graphical effect that resolves.
Yeah, so you have to kind of predict the math on where these things are going to end up. You have to find where the safe space is going to be, because if you wait until the AoE circle appears, it is too late. You have not made it. So you need to be super aware of, okay, there's going to be 4 impact spots on the ground. They're going to travel outwards. There's going to be a clear gap. There's going to be a larger space between 2 of them. And that's where you need to go.
Yep. Finally, when he's down to low health, he will do what I would call a soft enrage, where he will just keep on smashing the ground, doing arena-wide damage, unavoidable, until you burn him down. So you're forced to pull out all the stops, just focus on him, or you'll get knocked down by his repeated damage against you.
Yeah.
So we take him down. We win. Or so we think. He's down. He's defeated as far as we know and he knows. But his soldiers come running back to back him up.
Oh, yeah, we got 4 centurions.
From his prone position, he yells at them, "I told you to run." But they're so loyal to him that they're like, we will give our lives to try and back you up.
Yeah,
Rhitahtyn.
and also, again, this speaks to the character of Rhitahtyn, which is, like, tremendous. So 4 of his centurions come back, and, like, Rhitahtyn is prone the whole time, but he's still, like, throwing out some things, whatever he can do, while the 4 of them are chasing after us and fighting us. And it gets pretty spicy because it's 4 dudes.
Yep. But we kill them, and this pisses him off. This need for vengeance for his troops now gets him back on his feet.
Yeah.
He surges back into the fight to exact revenge on us for killing his troops.
Yeah, this is a warrior moment.
And now phase 2 is like phase 1, but more intense. The area attacks get bigger. The tomb attack makes more lines of energy, leaving only 1 safe spot in the arena. If we survive that, he goes down again, and we think it's over. We're walking away.
Oh, I love this. Okay, I mean, this is a cliche. A cinematic cliche up the wazoo. So at the end, it's a brief cutscene that's animated, and we're walking away from Rhitahtyn's prone body, and then we see a finger twitch. But thank God they didn't go full bore on this fucking cliche where we're totally caught unawares. Like, we get it, we sense it, we turn around, and the man is now, like, desperate. He knows he's going to die here, but he'll be damned if he doesn't take us down with him.
Yep. So the final phase is one big DPS check.
Yeah.
Rhitahtyn is going to home gang you to his side, so he'll chain you next to him. You cannot move, period, but you can act.
Yeah, don't try to escape, just hit him.
He sits the ground
Everything you have.
underneath you on fire.
Yeah.
And then just dumps big area of effect attacks into your face. You can't dodge them. You'll
Just
have to
go.
do everything you can
Pull
to
out all the
burn him
stops.
exactly
Absolutely,
before
yes.
he takes you down. We finally fill him. He's beat to shit. His armor is burnt up.
His armor. Like, it has been eaten by this. He's had us both just engulfed in flames this entire time, and his armor shows it. It's really intense.
And he collapses, lamenting that he failed Gaius.
Ugh.
His final sentiment is to Gaius
Yeah.
and how he has disappointed his commander.
Yeah.
The fray, though, has disrupted the Magitech transporter. It explodes into a pillar of red energy, visible from way down the coastline, and we see Sid and Alphino exclaiming over our victory, and they ping us on the old link pearl to congratulate us.
So this is huge. If we failed here, the entire rest of the operation falls apart.
Yep.
There's nowhere to go. So yes, the pressure on this moment, and I felt this when I first did it, and I felt it again, is really poignant. So it feels like a tremendous victory, even though it's one step of like 15. There is much rejoicing.
That's all the way down the coast, though.
Oh, yeah.
Back to our character, we walk away from the Cape with the transporter down, Rhitahtyn dead, and the possessed Thankabrea, materializes behind us in the ruins of the transporter. And then he monologues to himself about our victory, Alas, the gate to the void already stands open, and darkness shall consume all.
Okay.
We shall bow before the one true God. And then, unbeknownst to us, Thangabrea teleports out.
Yeah.
Thanks for the villain's speech there.
They love to do that. Just pop in, monologue to themselves.
God, I'm so glad that things changed in the future.
Yeah.
It's a bit much.
Right? But is this the first time they mentioned the one true God?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. And so in his speech, he refers to Hydaelyn by name, but then he also refers to the one true God. Obviously, Hydaelyn isn't the one true God, which leads us to wonder, who are they talking about?
Then we cut over to the Praetorium, seeing Gaius, Nero, and Livia in the command center. An officer reports to Gaius on our victory.
So Rhitahtyn is slain, and this hits them pretty hard. Livia especially, and I think it's a centurion, but I don't know. Anyway, the person delivering the report, he's like, but there's more. So the other legs of that operation have also succeeded. So we have arrived at Castrum Occidens. We are engaging in battle there. The teleporter between Marinum and Westwind, that's been destroyed. And the Limsons, again, are on Castrum Marinum as well. Fuck. But back to the news of Rhitahtyn's slaying. Gaius immediately assumes that Rhitahtyn's soldiers bailed on him. And the reason that they bailed on him is because he's not Garlean. And so, he's immediately pissed off that his soldiers abandoned him. And he assumes that it's because of that. So, he's, keenly aware of how Rhitahtyn felt always like an outsider and had to work especially hard to, overcome that. So he's like the Imperial Thancred. He can never do enough.
Mm-hmm.
He is all in on this cause. And that is really upsetting. And I wanted to scream at Gaius, no, his people came back for him. They fought for him. And unfortunately, the guy... the officer that's given the report, he doesn't have this information. He can't speak for them or about them, unfortunately. So we can't apply any bomb to Gaius's suspicions there.
That's okay. Fuck a Gaius.
I kind of, but I do appreciate he's always got Rhitahtyn's back. He doesn't want to hear it. No, he isn't Garlean, but that doesn't fucking matter. So yeah, I just. The trials that Rhitahtyn must have faced, even within, after adopting Garlemald as his new home and his position as, as a way of thanking them, I guess. Everything that they reworked here is in service to Rhitahtyn, and it's good. He's worthy of it.
The Centurion is going on, reporting on the various Eorzean operations, and Gaius is like, okay, I get it. And he dismisses the Centurion.
Right, it's like, okay, I got it. Now we have to do something.
So this is their answer, utters Gaius. Very well. We shall crush them as we crushed the Icons. Back on the coast again, with our character, we're updated as well on the assault's progress. Everything's going great. As the mirror to the bad news in the Castrum.
Right.
And that means it's our turn to head towards northern Thanalan to prepare for the assault on Castrum Meridianum. And that's where we leave off this time. So Jen,
there it is.
You went on about Rhitahtyn quite a bit. Any other thoughts on him that you did not voice beforehand?
No. I mean, we, like you said, we know very little about him. But from what we can glean from our very limited interactions with this man and the battle that ensued, we can take away some impressions, and they're all, despite him being who he is within the Empire, they're really positive. I mean, if this is like the Amalja in a warrior culture, he would be held in such high regard.
Sure, but also...
he's delusional, unfortunately.
It's a lack of morality, too, you might say, because he is absorbing the message and not the reality.
I don't think that's a lack of morality.
Well, he's been steeped in it, don't get me wrong, and he I'm sure, was disadvantaged in terms of just being surrounded by, here's the Empire, they're so great. But I guarantee you, he has seen some fucked up shit in his time with the Empire, and he has either kind of memory hold that or turned a blind eye or something.
It's all for the greater good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So in with that, singular purpose in mind, which is, like I said, the man is built out of blind spots.
Yes, he is definitely noble in his own way, but also he has chosen to champion this cause too. And we do see...
It's the wrong decision.
Imperials that have different thoughts, Biggs and Wedge, for instance.
Oh, sure.
It's not the only path is to go whole in on this.
No.
So let's talk about the original Cape Westwind. Cape Westwind Classic.
I've only done this once. And
Really?
It was, yeah.
Never in a roulette or something like that?
Maybe once. Once. Because then I was able to be like, oh, gird your loins. This is going to be a tough one. Yeah. Oh, God. They got me, though. Like, it worked on me the first time, of course.
Cape Westwind was not always this impressive showdown between the Warrior of Light and Rhitahtyn. This was updated in the 6-point-something patch series. I don't recall when exactly. Before this update, though, Cape Westwind was a trial between you with a group of players and Rhitahtyn. This is one of the memified encounters of the older version of old Final Fantasy back in the 5-point and minus days, where it would be a hazing practice for experienced players when they got pulled into Cape Westwind on a new player's first time to talk it up a lot in chat while people are inside the pre-fight box circle.
So any sprouts that were present were going to see messages like, all right, guys, you got your map markers up. Make sure you eat any buff foods that you have. This is a really intense fight. Like going into it as if it were a savage raid. Like they were putting the fear in you. So I was very, very nervous. I didn't know what map markers were. And I did not have high hopes. I was like, fuck. And with all of the story that you just experienced leading up to this moment, like both of those things together, you're very worried. And so it's you and however many other players against Rhitahtyn, and the fight starts, and then the fight's over. It is the easiest goddamn fight. It's nothing. It's a fucking nothing of a fight. It took 30 seconds for him to go down. And then I'm like, oh, you guys. And everybody's like, GG, ha ha ha, have fun in the story. I love that. It's like, being a freshman versus being a senior, and then the second time I did it, I was able to kind of pretend that it was going to be a really hard fight. It's just joyful. It's so fun. So I do miss that. Not that there aren't other opportunities to do that, but I do kind of miss that opportunity for a little hazing. It's
that was the easiest fight in the game, I'm pretty sure, by a good margin.
Yeah. I fought a Eorzean just outside the gates, and that was harder.
However, I have seen a lot of messages, actually, while I was doing my episode prep this time, about new players struggling with this fight.
Oh, it's hard.
So it seems like this actually has become a bit of a wall because these mechanics are brand new in a lot of cases to them.
Yes, absolutely. Gear is critical here.
You should, if you've been doing your job quests, at least have your artifact armor.
You will have your artifact armor. So put that shit on. If you are crafting, please be fucking crafting. Craft, please. And so that if you're like a goldsmith, you'll be able to get all of your right-hand side shit leveled up because artifact gear doesn't include that stuff. But all of that will help. Like, do that. You're probably going to have to do it a few times. I can't imagine.
Yeah, you are on your own here.
Really difficult.
You can't count on a party that knows the fight to carry you.
Right.
You have to do it yourself.
Right.
So that is a big step up and a big change for the first timers.
It might take you a couple times, but again, it's like learning new mechanics. We've all been there. And it's all very important shit to learn. Yep. The third phase will probably fuck with you mentally. The fact that you cannot escape. And for a while there, I'm like, do I need like an Asuna? Or like, do I pop a potion? Like, no. You just don't. You don't. You're stuck there. Deal with it. And that was like, oh, okay. It's just a long-ass DPS check. Love it.
This was my first time doing this too with the new version. And during the entire third phase, I had no idea what was happening.
Right.
So I had my move key held down the entire time in case the debuff came off. But
wow.
I also was like, okay, I'm able to act, so I'm not going to waste my cooldowns. Always be casting.
Yeah.
I can see though, like you're saying, if you're a first timer, you're like, I'm in the shit. I can't move.
Yeah,
what do I do?
Yeah. You're not sure if you're doing it right.
Yeah.
You are. You're stuck there. Adopt it. grow up in it, whatever,
I was born in the flame.
There you go.
I live in it.
Yes. Because, yeah, you will live in it until you kill him.
Any other comments on today's episode, Jen?
Nope.
Okay. So next time we are picking up where we left off here. We are going to be playing through the entirety of Operation Archon before we start hitting that side content again. Next time we'll be playing through the quest Rock the Castrum. And then in 2 episodes, we'll be finishing off the main story of 2.0 A Realm Reborn.
And that will do it for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you want to join our brand new shiny ass Discord, you can check the show notes, join, chat, share screenshots, all that good stuff. Talk about FanFest, yeah. And then
it'll be so
old.
old.
It'll be so old by this time.
goes
Yeah,
out.
you can still talk about it, but yeah. What do we think the new jobs will be? And then otherwise, you can hit us up via email at podreturnffxiv@gmail.com. And hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We love you, and hope you have a good day or night. And we will see you next time.
Pray leave the military matters to us, and retire to the waking sands,